I just watched a guy's video, and it's so crazy because, like, I don't know if anybody else does any of this, but you see content creators you like scrolling through your YouTube, and I usually don't scroll down too far. I kind of like hit refresh, see what else pops up. And then I see content creator, like just depends on if I feel like watching, listening to what they have to say at the moment. I like Big Ward. I'll go through. Sometimes I want to listen to him. I haven't really listened to him in a week. This guy Joey, the Gypsy, and I want to link him in this video. The reason why I really don't try to do extra stuff like that is because, like, I just don't feel like it's really that big of a deal. I mean, I think that it's like I don't. So first off, I'm a very humble person, and anybody who watches any of my content more than just like one video to like talk shit to me or whatever in the comments, if you watch more than one video, you watch like a lot. I please don't think I'm like putting you down. And not appreciating you watching my content. Honestly, like, I really don't pay attention to my view count on YouTube. I don't expect much out of this. This is why I don't really put much effort. If you scroll down my videos, you can see, like, when I feel like doing something extra, like with God, I look gay. When I want to do extra with now I'm gonna have the more masculine tone to compensate for the anyway. So like the thumbnails, and maybe someday I'll go there and just like put all the thumbnails, fix how, man, there's like hundreds of videos of thumbnails I didn't put up, but it's just I it's just pretty much put it out there, and if somebody likes it, cool. If somebody listens to it, cool. If they don't, cool. And like it's nothing to. That's why I don't want to come across like I don't care. I appreciate the people who watch my videos. I really do, and I know it sounds like hypocritical or something, but I've seen, like, I kind of like looked the last couple of days, but usually I don't look at like my view count, so I know I sound like a hypocrite, but because I've been trying different things with like shorts, but I really just like I want to put out what I want to put out, and I don't want to have any type of expectations. I don't want to stick to a certain type of how many minutes each video is. I don't want to be constrained. I like the messiness of not being enslaved. I feel like I have to be enslaved in every single other aspect of my life, and this is social media for me is a place where I feel like I can try to be at least messy and chaotic, and like not having to just be conform. If you you look at like a lot of YouTube videos, they might even have like, it seems like every single thumbnail looks the exact same. Like if you go to like one of my favorite content content creators is Raymond's Thoughts. It looks like all of his thumbnails are basically the exact same, and if I feel like doing it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. I mean, if I was getting paid, I guess, and I was like, that guy gets paid $2,000 a month. So if I was getting, like that, I would probably, put more of an effort. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that people understand. I hope you understand that if you're watching this video and you watch you like my other videos, that I don't mean to act like you don't matter. I don't mean to act like that at all. And I hope you understand that. It's like the bigger the audience, it's like, okay, I need to try harder now because there's more eyes. And I hope you understand that. I just don't get a lot of attention, so it's kind of like I just kind of don't care. So that's another aspect of why I do what I do. But the crazy thing is, the guy I just listened to, I haven't listened to his content in like probably a month and a half, and I just decided to, and I've seen his content, and I just kind of skipped past. I didn't really care about what he had to say, and this guy is a person that lives in his car. In this society, he would be called homeless, and he has a roof over his head, so technically he's not homeless. You know what I mean? So the video was amazing, and I definitely. I might put it in the description so you guys could check it out. But it really hits home on a lot of different aspects of, man. I relate a lot, and I think that's what happens with like these type of videos and these realistic, like, people kind of relate, because it just doesn't feel scripted. When I was listening to him, it really just kind of like clicked where. This dude's got like 70,000 followers or subscribers. And like, he is a little bit more on point than I am, staying with like the title. Like, it just, my titles are pretty much pointless. Seriously, it's just something I have to put there. My subject matter is all over the place on my videos, but he's more charismatic, he's better speaking, but to see how like he can go how I do, and it makes me kind of feel better to see somebody who's doing really good on this. 70,000 subscribers is pretty damn good, dude. So, and somebody might say, like, if they got like 100 subscribers, they might think I'm doing really, really good. But who knows? He might be at a wall where it's just like. You kind of get used to that. It's just like getting a new car. You kind of get used to it. Like, at first it's really cool, and then like you kind of expect it, or it's like I expect it to run, and you know what I mean. You just get used to it, or whatever. You get a new place, you get used to it. But some of the stuff he was saying in that video was absolute golden. Everything is fake. That was the name of it. And he was hitting home about all OnlyFans creators, not just hating on them, but like he was going into depth about he did basically sounded like me, back in the day when I was dating a lot, and you kind of figure out how to manipulate women to, you basically kind of took an advantage, like they do, and like he said, like they figure out how to take advantage of you in certain different ways because the game. And he even hated on like the red pill community, PUA. Like I have in the like a year or two ago, if you go onto my videos, just walk into the gym, and I don't know, it's buried, but I was saying, like, they act like they can sleep with however many people they want, but then they get upset that women have high body counts. It's like, but you're contributing to that. And then it's like, do you think there's like an infinite number of women that have low body counts, and then you can just go sleep with whatever? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's so damaging and hypocritical. I'll tell you the biggest awakening for me when I was dating and sleeping with a lot of women. I didn't give a fuck. It was the hunt, and it really, like, when I got to like what I got when I wanted. To be honest, it was more about the chase. It was more about the unknown, the hunt. Man, it sounded like a predator, and I guess I was. Damn, like I said, I was a fucking degenerate, man. And I don't think that's cool. And a lot of this society, that's like cool for guys to sleep with a bunch of women. But what it does is it kind of ruins them for the next guy. You know what I mean? So like, who am I to complain about? If who am I to say like I can't settle down with somebody who expose themselves all over the internet. Like, who am I? I've already exposed myself to a lot of different women. So I'm a hypocrite, you know, and I'm supposed to be the leader. I'm, you know, the example. And, you know, even though I didn't like say I love the girls, or they still think, you know, they still probably like, obviously they went out with me. Obviously they had attraction to me, and they probably had hopes that they wanted to have some type of long-term relationship with me. And then like some of them I just kind of had one night stands, and you know, this is why I feel like I deserve to be alone for the rest of my life, because of all the dumb shit I did with those women, you know what I mean? And what I made a video, man. I made this probably 2022, 2021, when I started going to I started doing donating plasma, and they said I had HIV, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I always use protection. You know what I mean? I always use protection. I would only like do certain things. I would only have like, you know, certain things on women that I trusted, that I knew the other guys weren't there. Um, you know what I mean? Going down or whatever. It's whatever. But it's just like that was a huge thing for me, because you know, for me to get like HIV at this point in my life, like it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? I'm old, like I but the fact that like I might have gave it to somebody I cared about, that really that was, you don't want that feeling. You don't want that feeling to think that like, are you kidding me? I have to try to figure out where I got this, who gave it to me. I might have given it to other people along the way, even though like I was, you know, I was careful. Still that feeling that week, until I went to the doctor and she told me that I was completely free of all STDs, and I was like, and then before I went to her, I um got the over the counter test because I was so freaked out. The person I thought I gave it to was, I really, really cared about. And you know, it was I was a piece of shit, you know what I mean? I tried to date single moms, and you know, they probably wanted a, but I guess I justified things to myself, or like I'm not messing with somebody. I tried to avoid women who seemed like they didn't have much attachment, like they really couldn't get attached to guys. That's why I tried to, any woman I had that vibe, because I am one of my specialties, like, is I can read people very well. That's something I can do very well, is I have a heightened sense of awareness, and I can read people extremely well, extremely fast. And I can tell, and you know, I'm not perfect. I'm not always going to be 100%. I could get things wrong, but I could generally get a tell of, you know, who has a little bit of innocence left in them, and who doesn't. And you know, if they have a little bit of innocence, I kind of like backed off from that, because I didn't want to. I try to justify, but it's still like what I was doing. Even if the girl had like 100 guys that she was with in the past, it still was like a horrible thing for me to do. And it wasn't cool. And I know if any young people, are not young, like young men that are young men, you should only be watching my content if you're over 18. um, so it's just, it doesn't mean anything, you know. My high body count doesn't mean anything. Um, and it just kind of felt, you know, fed my ego a little bit. And people really don't care. Like they really don't, you know, like maybe you'll impress somebody, some dudes that haven't really had much experience, and like, no way, you've had that many girls. It's like, yeah, but like it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. It's degenerate. It's stupid. It's not something that people should strive for. It is very unnatural. Um, it's not how people have generally done things in the past. You know, just like I said in my last video, like we're living so differently than we've ever lived in our entire, like we're so separated. And some part of me thinks that we should just probably just like limiting our social media intake, and you know, kind of trying to connect with regular folks. And I think that like this for me is to find. I never really connected with people in my own personal bubble that often. I feel like I connect with people, I relate with people on here a lot more than, because you know, in society you kind of have to act like everything's okay all the time, and you really can't have like in-depth conversations with people you don't really have in-depth relationships with. And you know how nowadays people, you know, we don't really have in-depth relationships. There's people that do, but compared to like when I was growing up, it just seems like people had way more in depth. They had to, like, they didn't have social media, you know what I mean? They couldn't find anybody else. Everybody was limited to where their vicinity is, like, you know. So, but like I have access, we have access to people all over the world. Generally speaking, like I don't really connect too much with people outside of America, but like yeah, I'm sure that there's people who have um, listened to some of my content, even my songs from different countries. You know what? Here's something. I just looked at, for whatever reason, I just opened up United Masters, and I still got a payout, even though they took down all my videos, all my music off of the streaming sites. Facebook Meta is still paying out. I have a song that I redid, "Zombie" by the Cranberries. It's on Facebook, it's on TikTok, it's, you know, it's these social media sites. It's on them. I don't think Enslaved Ones is on here. It's Enslaved Ones. If you just look up Enslaved Ones on TikTok or maybe Snapchat or something like that, you can find my music. But for whatever reason, that song is being listened to, and I don't know who the hell is listening to "Zombie." I didn't know you can even listen to music on Meta. But that I was like, dang, I got $52 this last couple months from that, and that's cool. I thought that I didn't think I'd ever get any. And that's kind of cool too, because that's my original music. I mean, not obviously that song was a remake, but anyway, so I just thought that was cool. I wanted to share that. Um, I'm not trying to promote that shit or anything. I'm not trying to. I hate when people like promote their fucking shit, especially like Alex Jones. Like, oh, like for 5 minutes, you have to like skip past for like. I'm not trying to promote my stuff. But I just thought that was pretty interesting. So, but he was talking about, like something I was talking about. He said he figured this out a long time ago. You know, like people have like their big extravagant houses, these big, huge, lavish mansions where, you know, most of the time you hang out in the living room, or you hang out in the kitchen, or maybe you hang out on the back porch or front porch. But you know, I think, or you know, you don't really need all that space, and it just seems so. You get used to it. I'm sure it's cool at first, and then it's just like if you don't have somebody like cleaning it, you have to do it, and it just seems like so much work. And it just seems like our society, especially growing up seeing this, was like nobody like the whole idea of a startup home is absolute. I never understood the idea of a startup home. Like, why wouldn't you want to stay in there unless like you only had like a 2 bedroom, and then like obviously you have more kids and you need something bigger. Maybe you need a 3 bedroom because like you have 2 boys and now you have a girl and they can't all share a room, and now you definitely, but like the whole idea of like the home you have is a modest home with a 30-year mortgage, yet it's just you look at it as a starter home so you can get something bigger, so you can try to pretend like you're a big shot to everyone for a few years when your kids are in like, because that's what happens in the suburbs, and then your kids, you know, are in high school and they have this and that, and then they go off to college, you know, the typical like uh family dream of like the last few decades or whatever. It's just um and then you have to downsize, and it's like, whatever happened to just getting that home and staying in there your whole life, and then passing it down? You know, it's always, I gotta do bigger, I gotta get more, and not really being content with what you have. You know, if you have nothing, that's one thing, because you're already at the like the rock bottom. Like, you can't get any farther down. You know, you're just starting out. So it's like, yeah, like, but it's like, what is wrong with the modest home? Even if you have a bunch of money. I mean, if you look at like Warren Buffett, the dude has a regular, looks like probably three. I don't know about now. I'm pretty sure he's not in some lavish mansion, but he basically, the big trope was for many years is he lived in a, you know, basically a 3 bedroom, modest house, and dude's worth billions of dollars. You know what I mean? And probably a really nice neighborhood, but he didn't need a lot of extra. You know, it's like, why? Like, for me, that just say, and he talked about it. It was cool because he was like, man, if I had all that money in the world, I wouldn't be worrying about mansions and blah 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 castles. You know, like the Andrew Tate. Oh, you have this Bugatti and you're gonna have this mansion. There's all this, a lot of that crap that Andrew pushes is like, he pushes that crap to try to appeal to the youth, because he understands when you're young, materialism is number one when you're young, and when you get old, you know, I don't know if he knows this, but I think at least subconsciously he knows. He definitely knows, like, he appeals to young men, and that's who he's trying to make money off of with his Hustlers University. So what he said, Joey the Gypsy said, and it's cool to see him kind of like stumble, like kind of like I do too. So it's kind of like he doesn't edit it; he just kind of films it and then puts it out, you know. And people are obviously intrigued, so it's like, hey, whatever I'm doing probably isn't that bad, you know. I see big, you know, whatever. Who cares? I just film it, put it out. Who cares if it does something? It does something. I don't expect it to. He said that he would just have like a condo in New York, one in Florida. I think he said he might have one in Las Vegas, and then he'd just have like a really, really good ride where he can just travel around the country. And yeah, I'm kind of like in a similar thing. You know, I would thought, like, if I had that type of money, I would just have like a getaway, you know, and I'd have like a cabin in the woods. I would have a few cabins, almost like a campground. Like, you know, you go to. I never went to a summer camp or nothing when I was younger, but you know, when you watch those, if you've been to a summer camp, you know what I'm talking about. But you watch these old '80s movies with like summer camp movies. I don't know any off the top of my head. The back in the day when I was a kid, I like Ernest Goes to Camp. Okay, so like, and then I won't watch that crap now. But back when I was a kid, I thought that was really cool. But kind of like that. I would have some land, and I would have like a few small cabins, like real small cabins on it, where I could have family coming. I could have family living there, and people I care about that they don't want to be a part of society. This is what I'm talking about, building communities. Like, we're not building communities, and it kind of frustrates me with these rich people that they're not building communities, man, like at all. Like, we're not. Like, what are we doing? We're just like continuously with the system, the matrix. We're not. There's no safety nets, but yeah, that's what I'd have. I'd probably have like 5 small cabins, maybe like probably like real small, like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom at the max. And it'd be nice to have a facility. If I didn't have like a bathroom in each, I would have like a general bathroom where people go out to, which it probably wouldn't be too great in the winter, where you'd have to go to the bathroom. But it's not, if you want to rug it out, like that's what you have to deal with. But it would be away from, city. It would be kind of off on its own. And yeah, I would probably have like those new robot dogs, like patrolling it, that we can buy now. I've seen them in front of Mar-a-Lago. I forget what they're called, but they're dumb. Was it Lucky Martin or something? I forget, something Boston Dynamics. Yeah, they make these robot dogs that basically patrol. And they just walk around the perimeter. That's something I would have out there, and I would definitely like rent something in society, like some type of apartment or something, so I can go back and forth. And I would definitely have something where I can travel around the country. Oh man, I would love, if I didn't have to worry about money, I would love to travel all across this country and just film. I would love to film. I would love to go to haunted places with like a crew. Let's go to Appalachian Mountains and let's see what's up there. Let's look for the Mothman, man. Let's go do this. Let's go camping out there for a week and see if we can get some of these skinwalkers and see if this is happening. Or just like go to monuments. That's what old people like to do. That's why they get the RVs or whatever. But that would be pretty cool. You know what I mean? And even if I didn't film it, like to go around and to travel around, that's what I like to do, and see different things, check different things out. If you go back a few videos and you see downtown Monroe or whatever it is, you can or the big building. And I'm talking about the brain, like your brain was a dementia or whatever, and you can see some of the structures I'm like in awe of, and I make some pretty good points in that video, honestly. Yeah, it was cool, and what he was saying about how people say stuff in the comments. Oh man, it was so cool. This is absolute gold. What he was saying is, like, there's this guy he listens to, this YouTuber or whatever, or whoever, I don't know where he listens to him off of, but he's like, I don't agree with everything he says, but he's really, really smart. And he's like, some of the stuff he says is kind of outlandish ideas. Some of the stuff, like, if anybody listens to me, they're probably like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? What it is like, dude, I just like to come up with ideas, because I feel like I'm an idea maker. And well, the problem is I just don't want to do them myself. I just kind of like to see an environment, see where I can make improvements, where I can suggest improvements. And instead of having to do the work myself, because I don't like the details and all that crap, somebody else can, do the work and reap the benefits. And I really don't care about compensation. What'd be cool? Like, if I didn't have to like worry about money, I can just be like, I could just come back and just see, man, look at my idea. Even though it's not exactly like my idea, they innovated it, but it's still like that's my idea came to reality. You know what I mean? Um, so like yeah, I say some crazy stuff sometimes, um, and yeah, I could be wrong for sure. Like, and the funny thing is, people, and he was hitting like hard on this too. He's like, people, who talk shit on in your comments, calling you stupid or whatever. It's like, I, you wonder if they're just either bots or they're just jealous. It's just like when I call myself ugly or stupid, I think you can tell I'm being a little bit of facetious or whatever, and I I do want to. It is a little bit of humbleness as well. I'm trying to come across. It's not like I'm sitting here like I'm fucking stupid and I'm like hitting myself. You're fucking piece of shit when I get off a camera or anything like that. No, like I think I'm smart. You know, I think that I don't know everything. I think that I have I try to adapt, dude. I try to adapt. I try to learn, and like maybe I am wrong, and then maybe I'm like okay, like all right, now I see it from a different angle. At first, it's kind of like, what? Like, the egos gets in the way. Like, what? How am I wrong? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I see the point of view. Maybe I was being a little bit absurd or whatever. But yeah, like, when people say that, like, oh, you're stupid, it's just, and I do it too. I get caught up calling people retards on Twitter or X, and dude, I'm pretty vicious on there sometimes, and that's me, but it's just kind of like in the moment, and it's like it is emotion filled. Honestly, it is like there is a lot of emotion behind it. But like I don't think I'm stupid. I don't think I'm ugly. I don't think I'm valueless. And I don't think that my channel is absolutely worthless. At times I might feel like that, but like generally speaking, no, I don't think that I'm stupid. And I think that some areas I'm okay, and other areas I'm not. And I'm flexible. That's a big thing about me is I feel like I'm pretty flexible. I think that's where I relate to like Trump because I feel like even though like obviously he's a prominent figure and so is Elon, and I kind of relate to that guy as well. Is there kind of flexible people, very adaptive people, and it's hard for me to relate to the normies that they're called NPCs. I've done it. I've called them NPCs or background people, which I'm basically a background person. We're all background people, basically. But you're just a whatever. You're not the main character. It's just but I'm not the main character. Not even close. Not even not even close. But like I feel like there's people that have just been completely programmed to just on the same loops, and then they're easily deceptive. Like they fall easily prey to propaganda, and they really don't question much. They really kind of rely on other people. Like they trust people, which I mean, seriously, like to question CNN or any of these like mainstream media places 20 years ago, like that's crazy, man. Or 30 years ago, like hell, even like 50 years ago, you didn't question like the average like normie, like the average person like me, the average nobody like me question like who am I compared to them? These people seem like experts. Why do they seem like why do they seem like they're so much better than me? They're people too. They make mistakes too. They're not perfect. The difference is they have a team. You know what I mean? And they might have somebody in their ear helping them, telling them things. And that's definitely we don't see that though. You know what I mean? We don't see any of that. We just think like, damn, these people are so smart, but you don't know if there's somebody in their ear telling them something in some kind of earpiece. You don't. They can literally be telling them what to say, and then they just like they follow what they say verbatim. It's like you don't know. That's why it just seems so fake. So it's hard to decipher what is real and what isn't. What propaganda is real and what one isn't. Because there's so, like the guy is like, there's so much psyops on top of psyops on top of psyops, and they're like always like the people who are in charge, whether it's AI, whether it's the New World Order, or whatever the hell is going on. It's like you're always being thrown off to some extent, and almost in my experience, constantly being challenged for my confidence. My confidence is always being challenged to, I'm like second guessing myself. Especially when you hear somebody like trying to battle somebody. Okay, for instance, here's a great one. Oh, I said something and I wish I could pull it up. I think I can, in fact. And I can I might be able to show you guys. But I got into a little bit of a... I didn't get into nothing at Crescent. He just, like, replies, so it's not a big deal. But anyway, I always forget I have this other phone. I don't... see if I can even find it on here. But like I basically told him see if I can find it. Okay. Damn, where's that? Well, I know it's on here somewhere. I should hold on a second. I'll pull it up. I'll even let you guys see it. Hold on a second. Hold on. Look at this. Can you guys see that? Look at this crap. Like, why are women doing that? Why are they making why are they getting tattoos like that? It's just so weird. It's so random. Like, that's so weird. Maybe I can't find it. Yeah, wait. Yeah, I can't get my account, but damn it. Yeah, if you made it this far, I apologize for wasting your time. But basically, in the argument, and he's been talking about that Garcia guy all day, and I brought up the fact that because they kept on saying like SCOTUS, and I might have said this in another video, but he keeps saying that like SCOTUS, like or Trump is ignoring the Supreme Court, and we're supposed to bring that guy back. And then I said to him, well, but I replied to that. He didn't say it to me. He just generally put it out there. I said, well, Biden, ignored Supreme Court when they said you're not supposed to cancel student loan debt. And then he replied to me with something with Grok fact checking, and then Grok basically said that I was wrong. And I like Grok. I rely on Grok a lot. So I'm sitting here like, wait, So I remember the Supreme Court said that Biden is not allowed to cancel student loan debt. And I remember, with all this information that's been thrown at me, that he's done it multiple times. Even though I have the worst memory ever for smoking weed, he tried to do it multiple times, and Grok said it didn't happen. So I'm like second guessing myself, like, what? I swear to God, I remember that. And then I'm like, okay, let's just see what Twitter search has to say. So I just basically put in Biden tries to cancel student loan or something to that extent, and then I start seeing like videos popping up where he's in a speech saying basically, SCOTUS, the Supreme Court voted him not to do that, and he's gonna basically do it anyway. And then I like copy and paste. I'm like, I knew it. I was wrong. Grok was wrong. I was right. And I was like, so that's what happens a lot. So it's like, we're getting so much fucking information thrown at us like at once. Like it's just a bunch. And I don't even think it's like, I really think it's at this point, I think it's so much. I don't even think it's the elites anymore. I think it's AI. I could be wrong. This is one of my lavish things. I think that AI is already sentient. I don't know. I mean, if you just look at technology, the evolution of technology and how they've hidden so much and the advancement, and it's just like, I think that it is possible. I'm not saying it is. I don't have any proof. If you connect all the patterns, all this stuff coming out so much, like repeatedly, all this information just being like uploaded to the Matrix so much I'm wondering if are these people fake? I've never met these people, man. That's I know it's probably bullshit, but I personally have never met these people. Maybe this is a simulation. I don't know. I sound nuts. I know I sound nuts. But you know what it could do? Like the type of stuff that I'm talking about, me sounding nuts, could click from somebody else, and then they might be able to actually like expound upon it and be like, I'm having trouble trying to like clinch it. Like they can like be like, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Boom. Here's my spin on it. And this is what that's like kind of like that one guy I'm talking about, the Joey, the gypsy guy, gotten using some of, I can relate to a lot, that whole video, basically what he was saying. It was great. Not everything, but a lot of the stuff he was saying is just like, man, it's like me and you on the same wavelength. And it's crazy when I'm thinking things and then I see these major content creators put it out there as a tweet and then it pops off and it's like, dude, I'm thinking that too. Like we're like connected to something, even though like even though like I'm aware of them and they're not aware of me, we're connected some way. I'm connected to them because I can see them. I'm aware of them, but they're not really aware of me. But we're on the same wave pattern. And then what'll happen is somebody in the comments who's somebody doesn't like Trump or whatever. Oh, you're in a cult. That's why. It's just, and I've seen this on multiple different people though. It's just like, sometimes I was thinking maybe it's programming, maybe it's I've bought into the propaganda so much or whatever on the right or whatever, that maybe it's just the programming and just instantaneously like No, but I just think what it is I think I've pretty much broken out of the matrix. And I think I've broken out of the matrix a long time ago, and the matrix is like propaganda. The matrix is this. The matrix is the internet. Um it's all propaganda. It's all like narrative. You could say mine's propaganda, you know what I mean? Um but everything is so chaotic right now. So like the chaos that we're going through right now is social media, and in the past the chaos we would be going through would be like physical chaos. So we're transcending. I feel like I live on both. I feel like I live in two different worlds. I don't know if anybody else is aware of this. I feel like the digital realm is a different world that I can lock myself into. And I've looked at my phone, like I'm sitting there on my phone, and then I kind of like I'm so focused on like maybe I'm reading a tweet or something like that, and then I come out of reality. I'm like, whoa! It feels like a different world because I'm so locked in. And I think a lot of people are just like really locked into the matrix, and they kind of are living their life on autopilot. And that's why people say like there's like a good percentage of people who don't have an internal monologue. They can't think images. They can't, you know, like I can imagine images. Yeah, I can like I can have pornography up here. I can look at I've always been able to do that. I can look at a woman, and then just I just it's called fantasizing. I thought it was called I thought everybody was could do that. Everyone could have images and just like create movies in their head. I create movies. I create I think that real life is fucking boring to me, so I daydream a lot, man, because I fantasize about like living in a different world that's like, even when I take like reality, like, because it's so mundane and boring and nothing like crazy happens. It's just like it's nothing like I need like crazy explosions. It's like, like, for instance, like going to the gym. You see that like the girl that you actually like, okay, like there's when you go out and you see people, you see women, or if you're a woman, no women really watch my stuff, but if you're a woman and you see a guy you really like, you might like be infatuated with them a little bit more, right? So you can go to the gym, they're called like a gym crush or whatever. Well, it's cool to think about, like, you know well, they're probably, they're married, maybe they're married, but you still like you still think that you still have like something, you're attracted to them. And it's not just a physical thing, there's more than that. It's not just it's like their aura, the way that they're carrying themselves, that makes them stand out more than all the other people, women. I'm not a gay guy, but if you're a woman watching this, or if you're a gay person, you like with the same sex or whatever, but like you have these certain people that actually like stand out, who you like more than other people, who you find you're more infatuated with. And maybe most people my age just like kind of get past that stage, and in this kind of aspect I'm still childish, I guess. I still have that childness, like I still have that creative ability. I still have like that childish like curiosity, somewhat still, um that a lot of people lose because you're trying to grow up. And I still have that somewhat, a little bit, and I know it sounds bad, but like, and in some aspects, like, I don't get excited for real life because I feel like it's, nothing really cool happens, like, oh, okay, like you're the girl you like, it all of a sudden just starts working out by you, and you can just tell, like, oh man, she's like, I can feel her wanting to be around me. You can feel when people, maybe it's just me, but I can feel when people want to be around me or when people don't want to be around me. Maybe it has something to do with like me being somewhat empathetic. Dude, I'm not a psychic. I don't feel like I have any crazy superpowers like that. But I do feel it's dull. It's dull. It's nothing like a superpower, like I'm saying, but like it is something where I can feel where people kind of, there is more of a, I want to talk to you, and some people just annoy me. Like, I don't want to talk to you, dude. I just don't want you. I can just tell, even if I don't talk to them, I could just feel like they want to talk to me. I just don't really I'm not really interested in talking to them. But so like I come up with fantasies in my head and different cool things that just won't happen in real life, and that's why I'm like, man, I can't wait till I can just create this stuff in the digital matrix and just like go in there and actually live it. And because like, I mean, this world is just so repetitive. Like, it's so, you wake up, you go to sleep, you have to go to the bathroom, you have to eat, you have to drink so much water, you have to do this, you have to like, it's all about it's just, and part of me is like, I wish I could just upload my consciousness right to the internet, so I don't, at this point in my life, like, I don't have a partner, and it's just, I feel like I'm like, I made a video talking about like, maybe prison isn't so bad, because I feel like I'm in a prison, honestly. And and it's like when you open up to somebody, you think it's going to be like a cool thing, like, and then they just like kind of, they don't feel it like you think, like it doesn't come out how you want it to come out, and it's hard to get that connection sometimes with people. There's people I want to get the connection with that I can't because they don't want to connect with me. So if I can't connect with them in real life, it would be cool to synthesize it. That's what I'm getting at. That's the big idea. It would be cool. That's what I do a lot of with my time. I realize in real life, a lot of these people who, I would like to connect with, in, more than just like seeing as a background person. Since I can't connect with you in this realm, it would be cool to connect with you in a different realm, even go into a different dimension at this point. If I could figure out how to go to a different dimension than this one, dude, I would be out of here in an instant, man. I don't even know if this is the same dimension that I was even like born into. I don't even know if I'm still like, I have pain, dude, so I know I'm a person, man, but I do feel. All right, that's enough for this video.